Okay, so we're going to move on to a bit more of infantry specific stuff. So, obviously take it in, was it Howes? I don't know, I mispronounced your name. Is it Howes?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, okay.
properly.
Yeah, so we're going to move on to slightly more infantry specific stuff, but it will still be useful in the, just in case your bird goes down or your airframe goes down. But a normal infantry section, so an infantry section you should be joined up with later on this evening, will be made up of 8 men in total. So obviously that will include your IC and 2 IC, and then there's 6 other guys along with those 2. So that full 8-man section can then be split off into 2 groups. So you'll have your Charlie and Delta fire teams. You'll be hearing that a lot, so try and remember that once you get told what fire team you get paired up with, because your IC or 2IC is going to be utilising them very differently. So they could be sending Charlie off in one direction and Delta off in a different direction, and if you're not paying attention, you can run off in the complete wrong direction, obviously with the wrong fire team, and that just causes a whole lot of ball ache, and it's all down to you just remembering who exactly you're with. And pretty good thing, most ICs also will set up buddies or using the buddy system. So obviously earlier you learned 8, so obviously you want to alert someone, but obviously you can't always see everyone around you, so it's good to set up buddy system. So just a pair of guys that you're paired up with someone for the evening, so you're constantly checking on each other to make sure you're still up, because if you go off like in a 4-man fire team, obviously that's 2 pairs. If one of you goes down, it's pretty easy for 3 other guys just to carry on walking. But if you're constantly checking on your buddy, you'll be able to tell if they go down. And obviously, if you are ever tasked with going off and doing something, make sure you're in that 2-man buddy team, because that would be the smallest section you want to be going off with by yourself, because obviously there's then the chance that you're never going to get captured or go down by yourself and lost out in the open. So remember that the smallest section in the British Army is a 2-man fire team, or a buddy team. And it pretty much wraps up how a section is put together. But most of the time, currently on deployment, we're in a coin-based deployment, so there's a lot of patrols going on. So you'll be patrolling through a village, obviously trying to talk to civilians, find out information. But every now and then you'll get one arsehole civilian who doesn't like you, or he's linked with the Taliban and he wants you dead. So when you're walking along your patrol, if Carlisle steps forwards, Lance Corporal Carlisle, you just take control of your weapon system and then just lower it as if you're on a patrol. There we go. So if you go off that way and just walk along. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to be in this stance, walking along nice slow. Just spin it around, come back. Nice slow, weapon system lowered, walking along, minding your own business. But obviously, as I mentioned before, there could be an arsehole civilian or a guy linked with the Taliban or a dicker up on a hill with a sniper getting eyes down on you. So we're going to come across another acronym that we're going to use this evening, which is RTR. 3-letter acronym, pretty simple, RTR. Does anyone know what that is? Go on, Walliter. What is RTR?
RTR stands for Return Fire, Take Cover, Return Appropriate Fire.
Yeah, perfect. So, if anyone didn't quite get that, this is basically going to be used if you're taking contact and you want to return fire to get the enemy's head into cover, or at least be able to get them back or stop them from shooting at you. Because you won't always know exactly where they are, but if you're putting rounds in their general direction where they are, you're going to get their heads into cover. So the first letter, obviously, was, as mentioned by Wallito, is going to be return fire. So you're going to be walking along your patrol, nice slow, then the enemy's going to start shooting at you, and you're going to quickly shoot off 2 to 3 rounds in their general direction. And that's going to be nice quick few rounds to get the enemy's head back into cover, so they're not going to be engaging the rest of your section. And you can imagine you have all 8 guys shooting off in one direction, all doing their RTRs, That's a whole lot of rounds going off in a second. So let's demonstrate that. So, Carlisle, if you begin walking forwards in your patrol. Oh wait, before that. Gents, if you haven't already, put your earplugs in, because Carlisle will be shooting, so Ace interact, equipment, and then earplugs in. You don't want to be losing your hearing already.
One thing quickly, I need to go AFK for a minute.
Yeah, Rog, just take a knee. So we know you're AFK and just stand back up when you come back. Have you all of you got your earplugs in?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Alrighty. Carlisle, begin walking forwards. So, Carlisle's on his patrol. And then an enemy pokes his head out of a window. Bang, 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 bang. Carlisle's got RTR, so he does 2 to 3 rounds. Pause it there, Carlisle. Then the next step, so this is the T, as Warlito said, there's going to be take cover. So Carl has got himself as small as possible. Obviously, around here there's not a whole load of cover. As you can imagine, obviously if you're out on patrol, you're not always going to be next to a tree or a wall to use as cover. So obviously going prone is the next best thing. Doing those 2 to 3 rounds off in his general direction is going to get his head down for about 5 to 6 seconds. So that gives you enough time to quickly look around, scout the area, and then sprint into a position and go prone or get behind cover as fast as possible. Obviously the best thing you can do here is go prone because there's not a whole load of cover around here. And then you move on to the next letter, which was, if you remember or remind us all, Warlito, what's the last R?
A return appropriate fire.
Yeah, so you want to return appropriate fire. So you've done your 2 to 3 rounds, nice quick rounds, and at this point now you're going to do nice, slow, appropriate fire. So, Carlisle, if you would do your last R. You see here, nice, slow shots. That gives, obviously allows you to put your rounds down towards the enemy and keep him in cover so he's not going to poke his head back out and shoot back towards you guys. Obviously, you're not going to be dumping a whole magazine into him, because that is crazy and we do not do that here. You do nice, slow, appropriate fire at this point. I guess ceasefire, Carlisle, ceasefire. Has anyone got any questions so far?
No questions.
Go on, Booth.
Just when it gets to the return appropriate fire, I take it that will be indicated by an IC telling you fire control order.
That will come in a minute, but for your RTR, this is all using your brain.
Okay, cool.
So you're going to shoot off, you're going to do your burst in the general direction that you think you're being engaged from. You're then going to take prone wherever you, or go into cover where you think is appropriate. Obviously not sprinting miles away. Obviously just try and stay really close as possible. And then nice slow appropriate fire, so you're doing a bang, bang. Just always do that, and then we'll move on to the next step in a minute, which you mentioned is fire control orders. So any more questions, gents? Perfect. Okay, so quickly run over RTR. So what is the first R then, Riley?
It is return fire.
Perfect. How many rounds are you going to be shooting off, Howls?
2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, 2 to 3 rounds, nice and quick. And then we're moving on to the next letter, that would be the T. What is that, Ward?
Return appropriate fire.
The T?
Oh,
Skip
sorry,
ahead
the
one.
T, tech cover, sorry.
Yep. Perfect. And obviously if there's not any cover around, what are you going to do, Blunt?
Just get down on the ground, take the prone.
Get yourself as small as possible, go prone. And then, as Ward mentioned before, someone repeat it. Booth, the last R.
Return appropriate fire.
Return appropriate fire. Yep, perfect. Well done, gents. So, if you would like to get in a nice straight line between me and that hangar facing out to the northeast, go on. Nice straight line between me and the hangar facing northeast. Spread yourselves out, gents. Spread yourselves out. Look around, Ward. So yeah, take a step back, mate. There you go.
Yeah.
There we go. Nice. So, can you all of you hear me, or do you want me to use the radio?
That's fine.
You guys at the end hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so if you would like to remove your weapon systems from your back and take control of them, do not reload, just leave them empty for the moment. We're going to do a dry fire round. So if you lower your weapon systems by double tapping left control, nice and simple. That should be the key button for most of you. There we go, perfect. And then double check you're on walking. So a patrol pace is just a nice slow walk. So just double check, do a quick little shuffle backwards and forwards, make sure you're on walking. If not, I believe the keybind is Control C or Control W, depending on different keybinds. You guys all good? Just double check once more for me so I can see you all walking. Yeah, perfect, gents. So, at this point, this is your nice patrol pace. You got weapon systems lowered. You're walking along. You want to be using your alt look as well, making sure you're looking around as you're walking along. Because obviously you don't know where the enemy's going to poke their head out of at any time. And you want to be looking into buildings like, oh, there's a civilian in there. Pointing that out. Those sorts of things as you're walking along. But for this exercise now, we're going to practice RTR. So, at this point, obviously you don't have magazines loaded in your rifles, so I want to be hearing nice loud bangs. So you want to be shouting out bang for every time you fire. Nice and simple, gents. So, you would like to begin walking forwards towards me. Now, the enemy starts shooting at you. Bang, 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 bang.
Bang, bang, bang.
Bang, 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 bang.
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 Bang. Bang.
I can't hear you all shouting bang.
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 There we go. And ceasefire, gents. If you'd like to stand back up, shuffle backwards a little bit, we'll break it down into step by step this time, because a couple of you went straight into going prone. So shuffle back a little bit, House. Just use your alt look around. Yeah, go on, Walker.
Did we have 7 weapon system jams? I couldn't hear that gunfire.
Oh, we're doing dry fire.
Yep.
They're all shouting bang.
Yep, couldn't hear it.
Oh, need to be louder. Yeah, you need to be louder, gents. Nice loud bangs, making sure the enemy is nice and scared by your imaginary bullets coming out of the end of your rifles. So, this time round, we're going to break it down. So, I'm going to shout bang, you're going to do the first letter, then we'll move on step by step. So, if you'll walk towards me, we'll do the first R. So, bang, 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 the enemy's shooting at you.
Bang, bang, bang.
Bang. Bang.
So, perfect. Now, stop there. So, you've all done your 2 to 3 rounds. Why are some of you going prone? Yep, stand back up. We're only on the first letter. So, the first letter, you want to do your 2 to 3 rounds. Quick rifle up. So, you're walking along, quickly pull your rifle up. Bang, bang. Those nice quick shots in the general direction. Then you're stopping, taking a quick second to look around. Obviously, it's nothing around. So, at this point, you're going to do your T. So, do your T, gents. Take cover. That is the best thing you can do. Now, nice, slow, appropriate fire. So, gents, appropriate fire in the general direction.
Bang.
Bang. Bang.
Bang.
Bang.
Bang. Bang.
It's good to hear you're all so enthusiastic
Bang.
about engaging the enemy.
Bang.
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 It's like we're in a film.
Bang.
They've all got bottomless magazines
Bang.
as well.
Bang.
I've never had a single one reload yet.
Bang.
Oh, someone had a dead man's trigger, I heard it.
Reload.
Bang.
Bang.
There we go.
Bang.
Well done, gents. Ceasefire, stand up. This time we'll make some noise. So if you all would like to load a magazine of 30 blank rounds. And obviously make sure your safeties are off for this. Obviously remember, most times you'll be walking along with it on, so get used to doing that keybind nice and quick to unsafety it, just in case. But for this, we'll make it easy for you and leave them off. So, some nice walking forwards towards me, gents. You're on a nice patrol, and the enemy pokes his head out. Bang, 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 bang. All the way through, gents. And ceasefire. And you can stand up. There we go. Where is Carlisle?
Carlisle, Elkin needs you.
So, at this point, Booth's already mentioned it. We are going to move on to the next step. So at this point, you've done your RTR, and you're slowly returning fire towards the enemy. So nice, appropriate fire in the enemy's direction. At this point, you're going to be listening out for a set of orders. that is broken down into a four-step acronym that goes by GRIT. Berghouse, you're on shout. Yeah, so it goes by a four-letter acronym. Anyone know what that four-letter acronym is? Anyone want to guess? Four-letter, I believe you understand already, so take a step back, mate. Oh, God, have a guess then, Riley.
So G would be group.
Yeah.
What?
Perfect, yeah. So the four-letter acronym is going to be GRIT. And Riley has said the first letter already. So it's four letters, so it's G-R-I-T, first letter being G, standing for group. So your IC or 2IC is going to read out these four letters in a nice, quick, orderly fashion. And this is basically going to allow you to return fire towards the enemy in a nice, accurate position. So you're all going to be shooting the same position or different positions. We'll move on to that in a second. And at a set speed that he asks you to return fire in. So obviously the first letter being G. So you want to be listening out for the group that he says. So for the evening, you are all going to be 1-1. So you're in one platoon, one section, and you're all walking along in one big section group. And obviously you've all done your RTR, and at this point you're listening out for whoever your IC or 2IC asks for. Normally a grit is read out by your 2IC, but it could be read out by your IC just in case. But so he could say 1-1, so that's everyone. All of your ears should be spiking up and listening. It could be split off. You could just ask Charlie or just ask Delta to do something, or it can be even broken down to a specific person. So it could be like marksman or Blant. He could say one specific person because he would want the marksman to be doing one thing while the whole section's engaging somewhere else. So you want to remember what role you're in, and either if you're in Charlie or Delta, or listen out for exactly who's being told the order. So that is the G for group. Anyone got any questions? Perfect, we'll move on then. So the next letter will be R. Anyone know what the R stands for? Let's go with Booth.
Rate of fire.
Not quite. Riley, do you wanna?
Rate of fire.
Nope. Anyone else wanna guess? It's not rate of fire. Someone else wanna guess? Anyone guess? Somebody beginning with R, gents.
Return fire? Maybe?
No, not quite. Go on, Walliter.
Range.
Perfect. Range. So you all got your ears spiked up, so you're listening out, so you're all 1-1. At this point, your IC or 2IC is going to give you a range. And this is going to get your eyes looking out in that distance. So obviously, if he tells you 50 meters and you're looking off a kilometer, obviously the enemy isn't going to be there. So obviously, you use this point to obviously get your eyes at a general range. Obviously, you're not going to be sitting there with rangefinders going, it's exactly 431 meters. No, just a nice general range. So 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters. Nice, quick, round numbers so you can get your eyes out in that general direction. And that will lead us on to the next letter, which would be I. Anyone guess what the I is? Anyone else want to step forward and have a guess? No, just Riley then. What's the I, Riley?
I'm guessing it may be identifying what the enemy contact is.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not quite identified, it's identification. Pretty much the same thing, though. But the word we use is identification. So, at this point, obviously you've got who is going to be engaging. You've got a rough range, and now you're going to get a bit more of a breakdown of exactly where they are and who they are. So, obviously you've got your group, so you're 1-1, and it could be 300 meters, and it could be like an enemy section, northeast, and obviously you compare that information together and look out. Oh yeah, there's an enemy section. Yep, I'm looking out to my northeast, and they're 300 meters out. Yep, that's got to be them. Obviously, if there's a fucking guy off to the east by himself, that's not a section. That's just one guy fucking walking his dog for all you know. So, pair that information up. It's going to be nice, clear information. So you've got your nice round range. You're not sitting there going, oh, it's exactly, yeah. No specific ranges at this point. And then it's going to be a nice, clear, guided on thing. So it could be really broken down. So it could even be the two-story building with the orange roof, blue windows, east. And all of you are looking off in that direction towards that building, two-story building, because you've been given a full fucking breakdown of what that building looks like. Anyone got any questions so far? No, perfect. So that is indication. So you've got a nice clear direction, then you've got your range, and you've got who the group is. And then this moves on to the last letter, which is a T. Anyone want to guess what the T is? Nope. Oh, go on, House. You stepping forwards? No, not quite. Anyone else want to guess? Go on, Attila.
Target.
No, not quite. Who else wants to guess? Go on, Riley.
No, I was going to say target too.
No. Boof, do you want to guess? I believe it's already been mentioned this evening. Already.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
Just a different word for it. Go on, Riley.
I'm guessing it's rate of fire, but with a different word.
Yeah, not quite rate of fire. It's going to be type of fire.
Oh,
Yeah. So this is at this point you're going to be told how fast you're going to be shooting at the target and with what spacing. So obviously at this point you all know exactly what you're going to be engaging and how far out it is in a rough estimate. But at this point you're going to be told how fast you're going to be engaging the target. So this is broken down to 4 different types of fire. The first one being, anyone know? The first one being the fastest one. Riley?
Continuous.
Oh, no, someone just mentioned, someone went to say it.
Yeah, it was me, sorry.
Go on, board.
Rapid fire?
Yeah, rapid fire. So rapid fire is going to be the fastest type of fire the British Army is going to be shooting. So, anyone know what rapid fire is? How fast we're going to be shooting? Who's down the end booth? Go on.
at least around a second.
Almost a bit slower than that. It's going to be 1 round every 2 to 3 seconds. So you're not going to be bursting your whole magazine off in full auto. We don't do that here. We do nice controlled shooting so you're hitting the target and not just wasting your entire magazine. Because you imagine, you start shooting off in a general direction, 1 round every second, that fucking magazine's gone in 30 seconds. You only carry 8 magazines on you, that you can't go through many contacts really if you're firing off 1 round every second. So that's why we step it down, because you imagine 8 guys all shooting off 1 round every second. Fuck me, that's a lot of bullets heading towards that one guy out on his porch. That's a lot of rounds, so that's why we slow it down. Because you imagine 1 round every 2 to 3 seconds on rapid, spread across 8 guys. There's still a shitload of bullets heading towards the enemy. But it allows you to conserve your ammo a lot more. So, Carlisle, if you'd like to demonstrate what rapid fire is for the lovely recruits, you just face off towards the northeast. Just sling your helmet on there, yeah. So, Carlisle, rapid fire. There you go. So you're nice, 1 round every 2 to 3 seconds, nice and slow. It's not what Carlisle's about to do. You're not going to stick your gun in full auto and dump your entire mag. Because as you can tell, his magazine's already empty, and fucking hell, he's probably couldn't even hit a barn door with that full spray. So, even though he has got the full score of 64 marksman, but with full auto on, it's not the most accurate of weapon systems. So, that's going to be rapid. That's going to be the fastest you're going to be firing. So the 1 round every 2 to 3 seconds. The next one is going to begin with a D. Anyone know? It's the next step down. It's the next slowest one. Anyone know what it's going to be? Boof.
Deliberate fire.
Yeah, deliberate fire. Anyone know how fast that is? Boof, do you want to guess how fast that is?
Every 3 to 5 seconds?
Almost every 5 to 6 seconds. So 1 round every 5 to 6 seconds. So this is going to be a nice slow shooting. But obviously, you can imagine still 8 guys firing off 1 round every 5 to 6 seconds. That's a lot of rounds going off towards the enemy. This is mainly used for suppression, because some smart bastard somewhere, I don't know who fucking came up with it, but they worked out the enemy gets if they're being shot at, they are going to poke their head up every 5 to 6 seconds, roughly, every 6 seconds. So if you're obviously putting a bullet over the head every 5 to 6 seconds, they're never going to pop up. If you can imagine that. So, Carlisle, if you'd like to face out to the northeast and demonstrate deliberate fire for me. As you can see, nice and slow. This is mainly used for suppression to get the enemy back into cover or get his head back in a window or behind a wall, something along those lines. But at this point, obviously you've been told to engage a specific location. And you can imagine... Yeah, this is fire color. And you can imagine, if that enemy goes behind cover, you've got 8 guys shooting at a fucking wall. That's a lot of wasted bullets that isn't going to kill him. So this is where we move on to our next type of fire, which is going to be, anyone guess what it is? It begins with W. Go on, Riley.
Watch and shoot.
Perfect, watch and shoot. Obviously, you're now going to be set on watch and shoot if the enemy goes into cover 9 times out of 10. Because you don't want to be wasting all your rounds shooting into a wall or into a building or into some like a hillside. Because that enemy is going to cover. So you'll put on watch and shoot. So this allows you to use your brain now to see when the enemy pops out. You're still going to be shooting at rapid, so the 1 round every 2 to 3 seconds, but you choose when to engage. Because obviously you don't want to be wasting a round shooting at a wall or in the corner of a building waiting for the guy. You're going to be sitting there. Imagine there's a guy behind the blue sign out to the northeast. You're going to be sitting, watching that blue sign, and waiting for him to pop out, and then you're going to engage him. Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so you're going to be using your fucking noggin, working out if he's in cover or not. Obviously, you don't want to be fucking wasting a whole magazine shooting around him again. So do your nice controlled fire, rapid fire in his direction. Obviously, if he pokes his head out or steps out to the side. So, Carlisle, let's imagine there is a guy behind the blue sign. So, Carlisle, watch and shoot, watch and shoot. And the enemy is behind the sign. Okay, he's poked his head out apparently. So, the enemy's behind the sign. So, Carlisle is going to sit there and watch that blue sign until the enemy pokes his head out. So, he's still waiting, watching, he's not going to shoot, and the enemy steps out to the side. There you go. You then return fire. Obviously, the enemy steps back into cover. Look at that. You stop shooting. Nice and simple, gents. Nice, simple stuff. And that will do. If you want to step back, we can move on to the next one. So, gents, if you would like to go prone for me. So, at this point, you've just RTR'd. So, you've done your full 3-letter acronym of return fire, gone and taken cover, and then you're returning appropriate fire. At this point, you're now listening out for your grit. So, I'm going to give you a grit, and you're going to basically do it. So, gentlemen, this is normally, I'll do it over the radio, because then you'll get used to it, because it's going to be done over the radio, because you imagine 8 guys all spread out, your 2 ICs might not be exactly right next to you, so he's going to do it over the radio. So you want to be listening out over the radio for your section or your fire team. So obviously remember this evening you are 1-1, gents. So, you've just done your RTR, you're in prone. Imagine you're returning fire in a general direction towards the enemy. You're going to now get your grit. So, 1-1, 100 meters northeast, white building with the orange roof, rapid fire. At this point, the one to the left of the gatehouse. You're obviously now all engaging that white building, or that set of enemy, in this type of fire you have been told. So obviously being rapid, you're obviously now shooting at your 2 to 3 rounds every second. Your grit can be adjusted, so you want to be listening out for an adjustment, maybe a different target or a different type of fire. So, section, deliberate fire. You've now been told to step it down to deliberate fire, so you are now going to be still on that same target, but just step down 1 step to deliberate fire. I could then also adjust your target, so section, adjust target 50 meters northeast, blue sign, and deliberate fire. And then you all adjust your target. Perfect. Section, watch and shoot. There you go, so now you're all sitting there watching that target, and the enemy pops his head out to the left. Perfect, and he's gone back into cover. Look at that. All listening, all in time. Well done, gents. There is one other type of fire. This is going to be a delayed type of fire. Your IC, your 2 IC, can read out that full grit, so we could go 1-1, 200 meters, northeast, the stone wall, obviously that's out in front of us. And you can imagine, you can't see the other you can't see the other side of that wall, or the other side of that little berm there. So you could be sitting there, watching and waiting until your IC tells you to fire. So this is mainly used in an ambush situation. So obviously you could set up an ambush and sit and wait, watching your choke point or your kill point, waiting for that enemy to walk into that location, and then you are told to fire. So unless you have been told to fire, you're going to be sitting there waiting, remembering that full grit, and executing it when your IC or 2IC says fire. So, I can read out the full grit, be it 1-1, hopefully you won't shoot each other, but east, 100 meters, two-story building, white, an orange roof, deliberate. Now you're all going to sit there remembering that full grit, so you're going to remember that's the target, the white building with the orange roof, and when I tell you to fire, you're going to be engaging it with deliberate fire. So, fire. Perfect. Fucking well done, Len. Ceasefire, ceasefire. That is pretty damn good. So stand up. You can all remove your magazines again. And then you can bring it in a bit, bring it in, and I'll ask you a few questions. Yeah, bring it in, gents, bring it in. Ask you a few questions, and then we can move on to the last of this little practical bit, which is going to be your ACMT. So, what is the R in grit house?
Range.
Range. Perfect. And the G booth in grit?
Group. Who is
Perfect.
shooting?
Yep. Do you want to elaborate on that, Wallito? What can go into group?
Could be section, could be fire team, could be an individual.
Perfect. And someone give me a type of fire, blunt.
Deliberate.
Deliberate. How fast are you going to be shooting, Riley, on deliberate fire?
One shot every 5 to 6 seconds.
Perfect. Anyone else? Someone else give me a type of fire. Attila.
Rapid fire. One
Rapid
round.
fire. Perfect.
Maybe 1 to 2
Ward,
seconds.
how fast is that going to be?
That's 1 round every 2 to 3 seconds.
Perfect. And if you're set on a deliberate type of fire, what are you going to do? Who haven't I asked yet? Riley, have I asked you?
You have asked.
Okay, Ward. What are you going to do on a deliberate type of fire?
I'll be firing around every 5 to 6 seconds.
Perfect. And if it's a delayed type of fire?
I'll be waiting for the order to fire.
Yeah, so you're going to be sitting there waiting and watching. Perfect. Anyone got any questions? No.
I've got one.
Go on, Walker.
Why is it important that you stick to your fire rates? Who are we going to pick? Ward, the man that didn't step forward.
To conserve ammunition.
Anybody else got any other reasons? Booth?
Simply because you never know if, like, there is a large amount of enemies or a small amount. You could just be fucking led downrange for no reason.
It's partly the reason. Can anybody think, we all know our fire rates. Can anybody think anybody in your section that will be making plans based on your fire rate? Riley?
The IC or 2IC.
IC or 2IC. We know we have, every rifleman has 8 magazines of ammunition when they go out. If you're firing a round every 2 to 3 seconds, and it's a 30 round mag, rapid fire, you have 8 minutes of rapid fire available before your combat ineffective. For every magazine you have, you've got 3 minutes of deliberate fire. So every 6 seconds. So based on those calculations, your IC and 2IC can work out exactly how combat effective you are, exactly how long he can keep you in a firefight for. Because if we do a quick ACE report...
Move on to that in a second.
which I'll cover in a second, and you've only got 3 magazines left, your IC knows that you can't be in the fight for longer than 3 minutes, because you might need to do rapid fire for 3 minutes, at which point you're out of ammunition and unable to defend yourself. So if you go off Rambo, firing twice as quickly as you need to be, and you run out of ammunition, your IC can't gauge how combat effective you are as a section. Or he's going to have to take ammo off somebody else and give it to you. So stick to your fire rates.
Sorry, can I just be AFK for like 30 seconds?
Yeah, sure, take a knee. Who was AFK for the start of RTR? Again,
Off.
Riley. Did you get everything?
Yep.
Perfect. So let's quickly run through it. What's the first letter of RTR then? I'll run through. Tell me what RTR is. See if
So
you
the
understood.
first one is return fire, which is where you've been shot at, so you immediately go shoot 2 to 3 rounds in their general direction. Then you take cover, then return, appropriate fire.
Perfect. You picked it up pretty damn good then. So obviously, you can imagine you have 8 guys all spread out on a patrol or advancing to a particular location. You're obviously all going to be spread out over quite a long distance. So you've got your last man of Delta at a complete other end of your first man of Charlie. Obviously, your IC is going to be pretty much in the middle, so he's not going to be able to see everything that either end sees, or the guys in the middle. He might not be able to see exactly the same thing. So this is where it comes to you passing out information to your IC or to IC. So obviously Berghaus mentioned earlier about everyone being a link man. Obviously this moves on to the fact that obviously you at one end could spot something off in the distance that your IC or 2IC in the middle might not be able to see. So you want to be reading out nice clear directions of exactly what you see and what you're obviously got your eyes on. So obviously you're basically going to be giving the first part of the grit. So you're going to be obviously telling everyone. So it's like, oh sorry. Sorry, gents. Obviously you want to be telling them exactly what you're seeing. So it's going to be nice, clear information. So you could be saying, oh, there's a enemy section north 200 meters. Obviously you've told your entire section at that point over the radio that there is that section over there, and that will then allow your IC or 2IC to then plan around it or get your whole section to maneuver to be able to put fire on that section. And obviously in a coin deployment that we're currently in, obviously slightly different. It might not be a whole enemy section, it might be one sniper up on a hill or something, or one guy up in his window engaging you. So you want to be leading that or passing that information along to your IC or 2IC. This also is useful as well, because obviously you're spread out over a long distance. You might be engaging something like we did just then, and you are running out of ammo. So obviously you are coming to the end of your magazine, so you're down to a couple magazines. You want to be telling your IC or 2IC this information, because they want to obviously be planning around that. They need to know, oh, this person needs more magazines, or maybe this person is shooting a bit quicker than everyone else. Maybe he needs to bring his rate of fire down a little bit. So obviously if you're going off finishing your magazines before everyone else, your ICs or 2ICs are going to be getting alarm bells going off in the head thinking, why is he shooting off that many rounds when the whole section's pretty damn good on ammo compared. So obviously you want to be telling your IC or 2IC what exactly is happening with your equipment. So this is going to bring us on to something called an ACE report. So it's a 3-letter thing. Anyone know what an ACE report is? Oh, go on, Wallito. You were first.
ACE stands for ammo, ammunition, casualties, equipment.
Perfect, yes. He's pretty much knocked the nail on the head there. So it's a 3-letter acronym. So the first one being the A for ammunition, followed by the C for casualty, and then the E for equipment. This is a nice way of you relaying your status of yourself and your equipment up to your IC or 2IC. Normally it's going to be your 2IC asking for this information. So you want to reply to them with nice, quick, easy things. You're not going to sit there and go like, I've got 1 magazine that's half filled, yeah, I've got 4 smokes. You want to be nice and quick. So this is where we break it down into a nice traffic light system. So for ammunition, obviously you're carrying 8 magazines. and it's going to be broken down into green, amber, red, and then black. Obviously, black is the bottom, and then red being you are perfect. So obviously, no, or red, sorry. Green being you are perfect. So green, obviously, you are 100% combat effective. So you have pretty much all your magazines. Obviously, you may be missing one or two, but you're still good to go. Obviously, if you start using up your magazines and drop down to below 50%, that is when you go to amber. So below 50% is going to be amber. And then if you drop down again to below 25% of your magazines, that would drop you down to being red. And that's obviously when alarm bells start ringing your IC on 2ICZ, because you don't exactly have long to stay in the firefight at that point, only having 1 or 2 mags left. And obviously the scary one being black. And that means you have absolutely no ammo left. That means you're completely out. You have none of that type left. So obviously in that small little grit demonstration we did, you may have used 1 or 2 magazines, so you're still good to go. But obviously, if you may have used 4 of your magazines, obviously then you're red, and everyone, or apologies, you're amber, and everyone else is going to be green. So your IC or 2IC is going to be asking questions at that point. But moving on, oh wait, no. So obviously maybe in the future, a couple of your guys within a section may be carrying AT on their backs. You may think AT is part of ammunition. It doesn't cover that, unfortunately. We'll cover AT in a second. That comes under the last letter E for equipment. So ammunition is purely just whatever goes into your main weapon system. Has anyone got any questions? No. Okay. That moves us on to the next letter, being C. So your casualty status. Obviously, we went over that before with Lance Corporal Berghaus. Obviously, so that breaks down into the tiers, and the tiers are then matched up with the colours. So obviously, it should be self-explanatory. Obviously, green, you're all good. You haven't been hit. Amber, you've been hit a little bit, so you're tier 3. So you've been hit once, but you're still good to go. And then that then steps you down again to obviously being red, which is tier 2. So you're combat ineffective at this point. So you're limping or your aim's really bad, and you need to be seen by a member of Free Med pretty quickly. Obviously, you can't reply if you're tier 1 because you're going to be unconscious. And obviously, if you're tier 4 and dead, there's no way you're replying ever. So for the casualty status, you can only be green, amber, red. Do you guys understand?
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. So if I was tier 2, what traffic light color would I be? How's? I was tier 2.
The amber.
Can anyone else help him out?
Red.
Go on, Riley.
It would be red.
Yes, it would be red. And do you know why that is, House? Yeah. Obviously, red is the worst you can be. We're with the ability to still reply. Obviously, if you're tier 1 or tier 4, you can't reply. So red is the worst status you can be in casualty. And then that moves us on to the last letter, being E for equipment. And this obviously includes all of your bandages, your frags, your smokes. All of that can be wrapped up into equipment. So obviously it still goes along with the equipment status, or the ammunition status. So going down in the tiers, starting from green, going down to black, being out of it. Obviously this does include your AT. So if you're out of AT, you are black on AT because you don't have it. Do you guys understand? Perfect. Anyone got any questions? Go on, Booth.
Does that include things like, for equipment, I mean, for like medical supplies and smokes and that sort of thing?
Yep. So all your bandages, or your tourniquets, your smokes, any throwables, they all come under the equipment side of the ACE report. Does that cover your question?
Pretty much. Do you just notify if you're low on anything in specific at that point?
So normally if you reply, so obviously if you're applying green, black, your 2IC is going to be asking questions, because he's going to come back to you probably over the radio or in person going, what are you black on? And then you would just quickly reply with, yeah, I've got no AT.
Okay.
Nice quick thing, because you're not going to be sitting there giving the full breakdown of what you're low on to start with. Just give him the color system, the tier system, and then he can come back to you at a later point, asking exactly what you're low on. So,
Thank you very much.
most times the IC or 2IC, or mainly the 2IC, is going to be asking for the ace report after combat. So he's going to go quickly over the radio, be like, "Oh, section, in the order of march, give me a ace report." So you want to go through in your order of march, going green, 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 or green, amber, red, going through your tiers, your color system. So it's a nice quick way of your 2IC picking up of how good the section is in terms of ammo, casualty, and equipment. Anyone got any questions before we move on? Perfect. Would you like to add anything, Sergeant Walker?
Nope. Spot on.
Perfect.